All of the food we eat and much of the clothing we wear comes from plants and animals that are raised on farms. Farms are different in type, in size, and even in name.
Welcome to Barn Talk. What happens at the barn stays in the barn, but not today. We're going to let it all out for you guys. It's hotter than a Hot Pocket today, and the topics are pretty hot, and we're going to try our best to not burn the roof of your mouth. So stay tuned because the topics are going to be real, they're going to be steaming. But before we get into it, you guys know the drill. If you get any value from the show, pay the fee. Share it out with your friends, family, coworkers, employees, whoever. The more you guys share the show, the better guests we can get on, the better content we can make, the more content we can make. So thank you to all that have paid the fee and continue to do that. You can also leave a review on Spotify or Apple. We're up to 1.4 Spotify reviews, and we're up to 540-something on Apple. So Apple, got to get up to 1,000. That's our goal right now for Apple reviews. I also wanted to say before we get into Torque's real hot, nice market update that thank you to all that bought or supported Farmer Grade on our first launch. We completely sold out, and I appreciate every single one of you guys for listening to the story of Farmer Grade, sharing your thoughts and feedback, and for those of you that went on the site and bought a box, from the bottom of my heart, I really do appreciate it. A lot of blood, sweat, and tears went into it, and we're looking to just keep her going and keep growing it. So thank you for those that supported us on that.
That's touching.
Gotta give them their props, man.
I just enjoyed some farmer grade pork chops just about 3 nights ago, and they were awesome.
They were damn good.
Video probably on Farmer Grade, and this'll do of Torque's pork chop recipe coming soon. We're going to try to get, by the time the boxes ship, we're going to try to have some content of how do you cook this delicious pork that you got from Farmer Grade. So another project we're adding to the list. So I'm fresh off of chorin this morning. It was a good chorin day. Did you have a good chorin
I had
morning?
a good chorin day. I'm fresh too. I smell ripe.
Well,
so
nothing was wrong. There were no catastrophes, so I feel pretty good about that. And usually that doesn't happen on a Friday or Saturday. If anything is going to go wrong, it usually goes wrong Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Usually.
Mostly Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday's usually the prime day.
Sunday, fix it, baby.
But today, good day. We got a good rain. We got over an inch of rain here 3 days ago, maybe. Corn's looking good. Beans are looking good. Beans are finally covering the row. Only about a month late for that. Corn is tasseling. Fair week here in southeast Iowa. Keokuk County Fair is going on right now, and our local fair starts next week. So there's a lot of stressed out parents out there running around making 8 trips to the hardware store to get whatever they need, to get ready to take their livestock to the fair. And so next week will be guaranteed either blazing hot or a torrential downpour, or all of that, because that's usually what happens during the fair. So without any further ado, the market update today. Corn, and this is yesterday's close. Corn is up 7 cents the last time I checked, but the local prices are from yesterday. Corn, $5.93. Eddyville had a $5.98 bid through the 22nd, and the best price I could find local was $5.79. Beans, $15.18, $15.08 at Burlington, $15.28 on the other side of the river. Wheat, $6.25. Bean meal, $430 blazing dollars a ton. And hogs, $102. That's on the August month because we switched. Feeder cattle, $245, 100 weight. Regular fat cattle, $176. Crude oil, $77. Bitcoin, $31,600.
What's up?
So all of the Bitcoin miners that I saw data from, their production was all down for June, and the price is up. and most miners are holding as much Bitcoin as they can. So in other words, they're not selling any more than they have to. So that and the fact that BlackRock and somebody else are in the process of getting ETFs means Bitcoin supply is tight, even though consumer price index came out the other day and it was lower. And I'll just touch on that for a minute. That was kind of a big deal in the fact that the worst month we had for inflation was last year in June. June last year's consumer price index, 9%. That was when inflation was blazing hot. This month, compared to last month, it was actually down. Last month, 4%. This month, 3%. So that made everybody feel better. Everybody thinks the Fed is still going to raise interest rates, but I think the stock market feels better about things. And we could do a whole nother deal about how the Fed is kind of band-aiding all these banks, but we won't do that today. Ethereum, just shy of $2,000 for Ethereum. I think that's the highest that's been in a long time. Tesla, $280. Tesla's pretty much kicking everybody's ass in the EV field. I won't go off on that. And Meta, $313 a share. And the reason I quoted Meta is because I hadn't really paid attention to this, but I looked at the chart the other day, and I don't think you could find a more perfect uptrending chart over a year's time than what Meta is. And they were, I did not realize this, but they were basically $90 a share last November. And they closed yesterday at $313 a share. That's pretty impressive. And they've been up lately, and we're going to talk about it, because one of their hot new products is Threads.
Threads, yep.
And they're competing directly with Twitter, and
we're going to see a cage match out of Elon and Zuckerberg, maybe.
Yeah, supposedly.
And, I'm more big of a fan of Elon than I am Zuck, but I'll have to say Zuckerberg knows jiu-jitsu.
Yep.
And I've seen he's hanging out with some UFC fighters, and I think he's getting taught all the moves he needs to have so he can kick Musk's ass. But it would make some damn good entertainment value for sure.
Neither one of them to me seem like they're incredibly flexible. Zuckerberg, I'm sure, much more than Musk. But Zuckerberg's not exactly what I would say built.
Well, you must have not seen the most recent picture of him standing next to two UFC fighters. Looks like he's
feeding him tiger blood.
Well,
or something?
they've probably been feeding him a little bit of TRT, I would assume. Getting some testosterone, and he's been putting on some weight. He looks pretty good. He looks shredded, and I always see videos of him on the water skiing and wakeboarding and surfing, and he's always fighting in jiu-jitsu. I don't know how he must have some damn good execs at Meta to run everything, but he enjoys his life, it looks like. So
age is definitely on his side, isn't it? Isn't he?
Oh yeah.
He's a good 10 years
I don't know.
than Elon.
Oh yeah. I'd say maybe 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure, but I know that when did he start Facebook? He was in college. He was probably 19 or 20.
Yeah.
When he started
Elon's
Facebook.
my age. Elon's 51 or 52.
Yeah, I think it'd make great entertainment, and it's something that's different, because usually we have, the Logan Pauls and the Jake Pauls of the world that are trying to fight fighters that are out of their prime or whatever, and they make a whole thing. But this new, hey, two entrepreneurs that are really successful facing off, I don't know, that'd be kind of cool to see.
Anything for the ratings.
Oh, yeah. And I think that they'd both gain a lot of, publicity, and maybe people would hate Zuckerberg less, because there's a lot of people that hate Zuckerberg because of the whole, privacy and data and all that.
Yep.
And maybe it's a good thing for him to try to relate to the public a little bit.
Zuckerberg does not do a good job of speaking to the common man. Anytime that he's ever been.
Well, he's not very common. And I mean, Elon's not either, but Elon does a way better job of trying to relate to the common man or cracking jokes.
Yep.
Everybody knows he's a smart-ass guy, but he's kind of a smart-ass with his wit.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why people like him. But
So, Threads launched.
Yep.
10 days ago.
I don't know if it was 10 days. I think I don't know. I think I downloaded it Monday or Sunday. I can't remember.
Yeah, so not very long. It is basically a clone to Twitter. Looks very similar, acts very similar. The one thing I will say is that Meta made it very simple. So have they gotten to, 70 million users?
Last time I looked, and it was like the second day that it was out, it was at 30 million, but their goal was to get to
over 100.
Over 100 million, and then get it to 1 billion users. And it probably is close to that 100 million now, I would think. And I think the reason that it's grown so fast is just what you're alluding to now is it's so easy to set up. Yeah. It's so easy to set up a Threads account because it is connected to your Instagram account. You can jump back and forth from Threads to Instagram seamlessly, and you can copy and paste your bio, your profile picture, your name, your username, all. Like, it literally gives you the option when you create your profile. Do you want to just like follow everybody you follow on Instagram? Yes. Do you copy and paste your bio, your photo, your name? Yes. And so it's just been super easy to do, and then also or to set up, and then also every single Instagram profile that has a Threads account, if you go to their Instagram and look at their profile, there's this weird like icon in the top part of their profile where their bio is, and it's like their thread number. And if you click that, it'll take you to their Threads account. So I think it's spread like wow. They've done a good job of making it really seamless and easy to make a Threads account and to access Threads. So that's why I think it's ramped up so fast.
So the only thing you have to do is download the app.
Yep.
Everything else, if you have Instagram, the rest of it's seamless.
If you're pretty easy, if you can work an iPhone pretty quick, you could set up an account in less than 5 minutes, probably 2.5 minutes, honestly. So, and I'll just give you my thoughts on it. Dad alluded to it. Yeah, Twitter, it's kind of we're going to get into that, of how it's kind of a copy and paste of Twitter, I think. But as a creator, and we're on a lot of platforms, we're on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and we do this podcast. Adding another platform to mix, it's really hard to try to be on all of them. We're not even that active on Twitter. And it's just, it gives me not anxiety, but just gives me another like, oh boy, here we go. I got to look at another platform, keep my eyes on another platform. The one thing I don't get about Threads, and I think it hurts Instagram, or I don't know how to feel about it. I want to get your guys' 2 cents on it, but you can post videos on Threads up to 5 minutes. You can post pictures, and you can write a thread like you can write a tweet on Twitter. And it's basically Twitter, but I'm like, okay, you made it so seamless and so connected to your Instagram, but then you can post videos on it. Like, if they were going to go the route of, well, we're just going to use Threads as written word, right? And it was going to be just another element of Instagram where you can't just write written word, you have to post a picture or video. That I understand. But then making it so that you can post videos and pictures on there, it's like, well, isn't that just taking away from Instagram? Because I'm looking at it as somebody that, hey, this is a new platform. You could probably have some pretty good organic reach on there. But what do you post? Do you tweet, or do you create a thread? Do you post? Do I take the videos that were already posted on everything else and put it on Threads? Does that dilute? Does that take away from what we're doing on Instagram if we're going to just do it on Threads as well? And if it's the same audience, the same people that are following you from Threads or from Instagram are following you on Threads, I don't know. I feel really weird about it. I don't know how to feel about it as a creator, creating on Threads. Right now, we haven't done very much on it just because I don't know what to do, to be honest with you. And I'm just kind of looking at the landscape of how people are using it. But honestly, I don't know how to feel about it.
Yeah. So I think that's the question is, one, does Threads create something new that brings a different audience? Because to what you said, if all they're doing is getting everybody that's already in their ecosystem, everybody that's in Facebook and Instagram, if they're getting them to sign up, aren't you just diluting your audience that you already have? So in other words, if you're Meta, if you're not bringing people over from Twitter or bringing people over from TikTok or Snap or whatever, then is it really a gain?
Is it taken away from Facebook and Instagram?
Right.
Is the question.
Because if it is, you've just added an expense to your ecosystem and you haven't really gotten any gain out of it.
I think that there probably are seeing some people that are strictly just use Twitter coming over just to check it out.
Yep.
Because it is a lot like Twitter.
Yep.
And so for people that use Twitter a lot, I'm sure they've came over to Threads and checked it out. And I don't know if they're posting what they post on Twitter and posting it on Threads. I'm just not a big Twitter guy. Right. I'm not great at written word. I'm not a great writer, so I'm not very witty. And so that's why we don't use Twitter that much. But yeah, I agree with you. I think the only, like I was just going to say, TikTok, when they came out, they were doing something
different.
Revolutionary in the social media space. They did something completely different. The For You page, everybody else followed after TikTok created the everything that you see is going to be tailored for you and your interests. And it's not going to be based on who you follow. Obviously, there's a following tab on it, TikTok as well, but most of the time, everybody spends their time on the For You page, depending on how you interact with videos. And so everybody else followed that. But now, Threads, they're not really changing. They're not mixing anything up. There's not adding anything new into the mix.
Yeah.
And so that gets into, well, so Twitter versus Threads. Like, what is, some people are saying, is Threads going to overthrow Twitter? And you brought up some good points about this.
Yeah, so the talk that I've heard from the people that I follow is that, so what makes Twitter unique is the fact that I would say it's the most, it's a pretty focused platform, and it's not for the faint at heart when you want to talk about business or politics. And the people that are on there, that those two subjects are their primary, what they want to share the most about, I don't feel like that they're going to enjoy Threads, because if you get that crowd coming over from Instagram that are sharing pictures of their dog, talking about the rager that they went to last weekend, or giving restaurant recommendations, the people, your main users of Twitter, they're not interested in that kind of stuff, which has kind of made Twitter what it is, in the fact that it's, I would say among the platforms, Twitter's definitely more business-oriented, industry-focused. In other words, there's ag Twitter, and I'm sure there's every other kind of groups within Twitter that are focused on their industry. And then politics, a big amount of politics, and the sharing of ideas happens on Twitter. And I don't think those groups necessarily will play well, or not that they won't play well, but I just don't think they're that interested in seeing that kind of content. So I guess, time will tell. The other thing that's really interesting, I did a little digging on this, and Twitter, or Threads, was built, so Meta built Threads in basically 8 to 9 months, and they had a core group of programmers of like 20 people. And I mean, they were laser focused on getting it done and getting it up and running. And I'm pretty sure there's a lawsuit either filed. Wasn't there a lawsuit, a cease and desist?
I'm not 100% sure. I know Elon put something on Twitter alluding to there might be a potential lawsuit, because he talked about how it's one thing when you take an idea and build upon it, but it's another when it's pretty much copy and paste. Yeah. And Threads, it's pretty much copy and paste. Yeah. There's not a lot. The only element that they did different is connecting the Instagram to Threads and making it seamless. Other than that, very similar.
So time's just going to tell. And I honestly, full disclosure, I have only looked at it. I haven't posted anything on it. And I'm with you. I feel like there's a lot of potential with Twitter, and any of you that follow us know that somewhat inconsistently, I will post like a clip when we're getting ready to shoot a podcast, or we post some of our content on Twitter, but we haven't done it consistently. We need to do a better job of it. But it's a lot. Unless you, for us, and we talk about this a lot, unless you have a social media manager that their task is making sure everything gets posted every day. We are the social media managers.
Yeah, we're working to get somebody to be able to do that. But when you're the one posting it all on everything,
it's
and
a
you
lot.
live in rural America we got good
low speed internet.
I mean, Starlink is definitely an upgrade from what we did have, but it still takes a minute.
It's still
versus
not
if
blazing.
you have fiber, but it just takes a while, and that's a lot of time to sit there and just wait and hope and just letting your clips upload. So I would just want to say one thing about what you were talking about with Twitter and how I think Twitter is more of a serious platform, and I think that's why people go on Twitter. I know I go on Twitter to see what's happening on politics, to see I follow a lot of business people on there that give a lot of written word content. They make threads on Twitter of, that's what they call it, a thread, when they have multiple tweets inside a tweet. And you get a lot of value out of that. It's more serious. It's more focused. And sometimes it's just nice to have a change up from just constantly getting short form video. I think that's what makes Twitter great. There's videos on there, but the threads is what's cool about it, and it's serious, and you get to actually debate people. And what's also great about Twitter that might be working against threads is it's a free speech platform.
Yes.
It's been a free speech platform. And back to Zuckerberg, how many people trust that threads is going to be a free speech platform?
Yeah.
I don't know. But I know damn well that we can probably post this podcast on Twitter.
Yep.
And have no red flags, nothing. But if we posted the threads and we do a hot topics like we are right now and we got political, I don't know if they'd flag us or not, or shadow ban us, or not allow us to reach as many people. But Twitter's kind of open world. You can post whatever you want. So that's what I want out of that platform, is if threads is going to be how Instagram and Facebook have been when it comes to censorship, that's going to hurt them.
Yep.
And that's just going to make Twitter even stronger. So, yeah, it's up in the air. Those are our thoughts about it. Let us know what your guys' thoughts are on threads. What do you think? Is it going to last? Is it going to make it? Can it take down Twitter? Kind of what you think about it. Because we're still trying to figure it out, but that's all we got on it so far. So
time will tell. And since we're already on the subject of tech, we're going to talk about AI. And AI continues to chomp away at the world.
Scare the shit out of people.
There's a lot going on. It's fast. It changes fast.
I think people do not realize, we've said this on here many times, the rate of change and the rate that this is coming is way faster than what people are even, some people don't even have it on their radar, and you need to have it on your radar because AI is coming. It's here, and it is moving rapidly. It is evolving rapidly. And so just keep it on your radar.
Yeah, I won't jump ahead, but there's one innovation that OpenAI, who is the maker of ChatGPT, that they've come out with, that it's kind of crazy.
I think
how
it's
many
ChatGPT.
GPT. Did I say GTP?
Yeah.
That's because I think of STP.
Yeah.
There's too many,
I could be wrong. I got to look it up. But
you had STP, and then you had Stone Temple Pilots, and now you got GPC? GPT.
Yeah.
See, I can't. Yeah, I don't know. But, today the leaders in this are OpenAI, Google, who their AI search bot is called Bard, and then Microsoft is playing in that, and Microsoft actually partnered with Chat, and they have a product using their Bing, and their Bing is partnered with Chat to give you search, and Bard and Bing compete against each other, and then Meta obviously is playing big time in that. And then Tesla in a little bit of a different way, in the fact that they don't have an AI interface out there running, but their supercomputer they built, Dojo, its goal is to be, the premier machine learning AI, monster. They're going to use it they're using it to scale the training of their full self-driving. They're using it to scale the training of their bot they're doing. But then you can't forget about Elon's implant, Neuralink. And Neuralink that's pretty scary.
Some wicked
that's
shit.
100% AI, interfacing AI with the human mind, which, I don't know where that's going to go.
I don't know I don't know how I stand on that morally, the whole Neuralink thing, because it's like God made us to be who we are, and at that point you're kind of playing God.
That's right.
And but it's at the same time, it's like if everybody puts this chip in their head and they're like, I almost feel like you're going to get left behind. If everybody puts the fucking chip in your head, the only way that you're going to make it or have a chance to make it or be ahead or try to get ahead is you got to put this fucking chip in your head. And it's like, I don't know how I stand on that morally. Hopefully in my lifetime, I could say the same shit that you say to me, I could say to my kids.
Ain't gonna matter.
I don't got to worry about it. I don't have to worry about it. But the way that it's going, I don't know.
You are going to be some pissed when I get that chip and then I get Jedi mind powers and I can say things to you like, you should just chore all the pigs today. And you just go, I think I should chore all the pigs today.
Yeah.
Then you're going to be pissed that you didn't get it.
Yeah, I will be pissed. I'll probably go get it then. I'd probably go get it then.
No, you won't know.
And then we'd be trying to do it to each other.
Perfectly happy.
We'd just be sitting there. We'd just be sitting there doing it. No, I was going to say, so pretty much everybody's trying to get on the AI train. They're all trying to make they're trying to make what chat's doing, essentially. They're trying to have this software that you type in a prompt, it goes through all this information on the internet, and it finds what it thinks is the best answer for your prompt and provides it to you, right?
Yep.
That's what it all does. But there's a few of them out there that are, one, they're not seeing, from what we've got on this outline, they're not seeing the growth or the usage that they initially thought they would see from people. And two, some of them are finding themselves in some potential lawsuits due to copyright. So touch on that a little bit.
Yeah. And I guess one thing I'll add, which I think is is the most serious problem as far as our society goes. So OpenAI has formed a task force within their company, and it's headed by their two best AI specialists. And we touched on this the last time we talked about AI, but in that industry, there's something called alignment. And alignment is a big issue. And what that comes down to is as you build artificial intelligence and you train these systems to where they start thinking for themselves, how do you ensure that their thoughts, their rationalization, their priorities align? So that's where the alignment comes from. Align with what a human moral compass is, what our priorities are. And that's the whole Terminator scenario. That's the whole Skynet scenario, is that at some point we get machine learning, general intelligence to a point where that system is smart enough to think for itself, and it realizes or thinks, for whatever reason, that the biggest threat it has to its existence is all of us. That's a really bad deal. So alignment is a big issue within this world, and the problem is you have these different companies that are playing in this space, and they're not necessarily aligned with each other. In other words, there's no...
Well, they're all competing for market share, right. And then when you're doing that, it's like any business. A lot of people, they scale business, and then they solve the problems that they had came along the way. They weren't huge problems, but we got to our objective. Now let's go back and let's try to put out some little fires. It's the same way with this. They are trying to move. They're trying to get adoption.
Yep.
They're trying to become the premier AI software. And I'm sure that they aren't being 100% mindful. They might tell us that they're being 100% mindful of AI alignment, and everything that they're putting into this AI machine learning is great, and it's got this many people that validate it and all that. But when you're going for scale, you're moving fast, and you might overlook a few things.
And when you overlook something that you basically, if it's a big enough mistake that they make, you can't put Pandora back in the box. That's the fear. That's the fear of it, is that you start something that you can't unravel. But I lost a whole afternoon yesterday going down the rabbit hole on this, and there's a couple of really interesting things going on. For one, there's a lawsuit going on against Chat, against OpenAI, and the nutshell of it is that 2 authors have filed a lawsuit against OpenAI because some user of Chat basically created a novel. They put in they gave Chat the idea of a story, and Chat basically gave them the written word, and they had it published. And the story that was written is very, very, very similar to a novel, to literature that had already been written by these authors. And their claim is that because their works had been used to train the AI, to train Chat, that they basically have plagiarized their works. Well, so the lawsuit throws up the question, when something's created using AI, who owns the rights to it? So is it the person that asks the query, asks the question that creates the content? Is it the company that wrote the software that created the AI, in this case, OpenAI? Or is it the authors of the literature that have been fed into the system to train the AI? So,
or is it the person that wrote the prompt?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
It's confusing.
It's very confusing.
Well, it's something, and it's like we're seeing it in the music industry too. There's these guys.
Oh yeah.
Like this new Drake. If any of you listen to rap music, there's this Drake song that was created by a guy named Ghostwriter, and it's called I can't remember what it was called, but the guy's name was Ghostwriter. And he took Drake's voice using AI, made a beat, put Drake's AI voice over it with lyrics that he made, created the song, and it fucking exploded. Everybody loved it. Got taken down by iTunes everywhere. You can't even stream it anywhere. You can maybe try to find an okay version on SoundCloud. But there's a lot of shit like this that's happening that it's just unfamiliar waters that we gotta try to figure out, and who's liable, who's not,
who owns the rights,
who doesn't own the rights. It's a weird game we're gonna play, and lawyers are gonna make a lot of money. I know that.
So I made the comment, one of the unforeseen consequences of Chat that I saw was that, you can ask it to make you a real estate contract. You can ask it to make some type of a lease. So basically, my thought was AI is going to get to the point where everybody talked about how the loss of jobs, that all these workers are going to be put out of business, and people think of like robotics and factory workers being put out of business. No. The people that are going to get put out of business are accountants, lawyers that do real estate law and just do your mundane stuff of writing rental contracts, real estate contracts, employment contracts, stuff like that. well, why have your local podunk lawyer write this when I can just have chat write me a contract that has been learned by, umpteen law firms that it's soaked up all this data, and copywriters, and we'll get into this, code writers, like for writing software. Those are the people that are going to be affected first. And this kind of play, but then when you have this, think about how many lawsuits could potentially happen when people start thinking, oh, well, you've plagiarized my work. And that takes us to our...
But then you think about it, though, are those people going to go, well, I'm going to write up a lawsuit using chat to sue this person? Probably not. They're probably going to go to
they're going to go to a lawyer.
I mean, I think it's still people probably are doing legal contracts through chat if they're good enough, but I think you have to be competent enough to know law.
True.
But I think as we get to version 50 of chat, then it's going to be a foregone conclusion that happens. I just think it's interesting that do we have a stat on here of the adoption rate of it, or do we just say that
no?
People just aren't using it as much as what they thought, which I think is interesting. And we always talk about on here, for so long, we've just been, anytime the new gadget comes out, we just accept it. Society's just said yes, 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 yes. And I think we're coming to this point where people are more open to the idea of saying no to every new thing that comes out. And you saw it with Meta's virtual goggles. I think most people don't want to sit in their fucking house all day and be in a virtual world, and the market showed that. Most people didn't want to. I mean, Apple's just came out with their virtual goggle set, and we'll see how that plays out. But same thing with this. Maybe people are not using this as much because they're afraid of AI, and they know the consequences of it, and they want to keep real humans employed, and they're going to take a stand and say, we're going to be a human business. We're not going to play in the AI field. I know Andy Frisella, I listen to him a lot. He's got a stance on AI. He's anti-AI. He doesn't like it. He thinks that the foregone conclusion is what you said, Terminator scenario, and that we should be very fucking mindful about it. And he's not going to just get rid of people inside his company for AI. And I'm sure there's some more people out there like that.
Well, one of the biggest people that will say that we're going way too fast to this is Elon Musk.
Yep.
And I mean, he owns an AI company, and he's all about it. And his whole mindset is that he feels that it's his responsibility to be at the cutting edge of it to be able to combat it if needed, is his idea. And you can believe that or not. But the other example I was going to give you that I hadn't thought anything about this was, and this has to do with both Bard and Chat's integration with Bing. So there is a lawsuit that has been filed because someone or multiple people, whatever, they were asking Chat through the Bing interface to show them articles about some subject. And as you know, if you search on Google or whatever, and you're looking for an article about something, a lot of times it'll take you to a website, and there'll be an article there. However, you have to subscribe to that website. Let's use the Wall Street Journal for an example. And you can only see that if you are a subscriber. But we also know that there's plenty of people out there that, so I'm a subscriber, and I get the article, and then I copy and paste the article because I think it's really interesting, part of it or all of it or whatever, and I put it on my Instagram, or I put it on Twitter, or I put a link to it, whatever. Well, people were using Chat and Bing to find articles about what, and the AI is good enough that, yes, it probably went to that site, but then it found somebody else that had put that article up that had paid for it or found some way around it, and then they brought that result to you. So in other words, you were able to read this article, this work, without paying the
You're
subscription.
getting the premium content for free.
For free. And so they filed for copyright infringement. And So that, that brings up a whole new deal, because in that case, the AI was smart enough to circumvent the subscription service. Well, nobody wants that happening. So it's just a lot. It's going to create a whole new can of worms legally, and all that's going to have to get sorted out.
I'm sure there's a guy out there trying to figure out how he can get past OnlyFans girls subscription.
That will.
There, he's like, give me the pictures past the subscription.
Yeah.
AI, give me do that.
Yep. How do I?
Yeah, there's some guy out there probably doing it.
Yep, that's usually the early adopters.
And that's that's the scary thing as far as like a content creator, We all got to be aware of it, and like deep fakes, like this new, when they start coming out with AI art and being able to make AI, like I saw an article of a guy that made, or a woman, I don't know if it was a woman or a guy, but they made a virtual girlfriend for guys using all AI. The pictures were AI, the voice was AI, everything was AI, and they were just making bank off of these guys that were talking to this virtual girl that was all generated through AI. And yeah, it's just scary. As a creator, we gotta be mindful of just looking out for that stuff, because you could have people that just copyright what we do, or take what we do, or and they could post it and use it as theirs. So it's something to be on the lookout for. And I think anybody that makes any kind of content, written word, articles, blog posts, video, photo, something to be mindful of for sure. Something else that we talked about, or we haven't talked about on here, but there was this thing going on TikTok about, there was these scammers out there that would take, this is the scary part about the internet. They took a girl's voice from her video, put it and used AI, transcribed it, I don't know, fine-tuned it, then found the phone number of the mother of that girl and called her and used the girl's AI voice that they took from one of her videos, and said that she was being held captive and that the mom's got to pay so much money to let her free, and wire it to the, fucking scamming her. And that's the scary part about AI right there, because there again, you put yourself out there on the internet, and some scammer can go into one of your videos, transcribe your voice, fine-tune it, and call your fucking mom and try scamming your family out of money. That's scary. And there's a lot of shit like that I don't know what you think. I don't know how you stop that, but have a safe word is what people are saying. Have a safe word within your family unit, that when if anybody ever tries calling you and scamming you out of money, you can ask them, okay, well, what's for dinner? And if they don't say, the AI voice doesn't say what's for dinner, or whatever the fuck the code name is or code phrase that you have, then well, this is a scam. So
our safe word is Dee Dee Mao.
If they took my voice and called you, and they're like, I need $5,000, or we're gonna kill your son.
First of all, we would know that that's not you, because you would tell them, don't bother calling because we're broke.
Yeah, don't bother calling. Well, I wouldn't know about it, because they just took my voice.
So if they were calling, I'd go, well, you guys are idiots, because you should have picked somebody that actually had money. We ain't got any money.
Yeah, I don't know. But you got to ask a question.
I don't know. We'll have to work on that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give everybody the safe word.
Yeah, that's right. And then we'll get fucked.
There's a few things that are, we talked about how this technology is just going. But there are some things that are kind of, I guess I'd say, possibly holding it back. And the first one is, surprisingly, chats, subscription, or users was actually down for June. And it was only up a little bit in April. It was flat in May, and it was down in June. And so one of the arguments with that would be, well, obviously it's going to be down because all these kids are out of college. So, because a lot of college kids use chat because they're trying to write term papers, and they're trying to work the system, which that's what I would have done if I was in college. But when you think about the scale of what they're trying to do and the worldwide adoption, you would think that it would not make that much difference, that it would still continue to grow. So I don't think you can account that that's just from kids getting out of school. But one of the things I didn't realize is the free version of chat is actually not the most up-to-date as far as the information. If you're using the free version, you're only getting information up to 2021. And to get the subscription version, which is the best, it's like $20 a month. So that's one thing that's probably holding it back. The other thing that I hadn't really thought about, but they were talking about it on All In Podcast, is as a society, when you think about the interfaces that we use, old people like me, you remember, if you had a Commodore 64 or you had a Microsoft machine, there was DOS. DOS was the operating system, and that was a terrible operating system as far as being user-friendly, and that's where you got Windows. Windows was much easier for you to use. Then we got icons. When Apple came with the iPhone, you had icons, and you could just find the icon that you wanted that took you to the program that you wanted to use. Well, today, now we've moved to basically scroll, like on your phone, on your smartwatch, on TikTok, on all these social media platforms. You basically scroll to find what you're looking for. And every step of the way, what has happened is, and I know you're talking about a very small amount of input, but still it makes sense. Each step has gotten to where you've had to put in less input to get more output. So when you think about it, all you have to do is scroll to get what you want, which is very low input to get your output. Okay, when you go to chat, if you're typing, that's a fair amount of input you get, and a lot of times all you're getting is search results like you would on Google or Bing or whatever. So it isn't following the trend. However, what they were talking about is kids, young kids, they are already way more adopted of voice to text, voice to do anything, and that's why everybody keeps talking about, like Gary Vee was talking about the growth of voice for the last couple of years.
Yeah, he's been on that for a while.
And chat will eventually get to where you can just do it with voice, and they think that's the big step.
I think he always said it's because it's faster. He thinks eventually, a few years down the road, people are going to look at texting or getting on Amazon on an app as a chore.
Yeah, too much work.
It's too much work to order something or to text somebody with your fingers. So now it's just easier. Voice will get so good that you'll just want to do it with your voice.
Mm-hmm. And they think that's the next jump in the adoption of AI, is when you can just tell your virtual assistant, you can just tell your Alexa app, you can just tell whoever.
I don't trust Alexa.
I don't either. I don't have.
They're all fucking listening.
They are.
They
100%.
are. Did you see that of that driver
Yes.
that came and supposedly some guy said a racial slur to him?
And they shut down his whole house.
Shut down his whole house. Shut down his Prime account. Shut down everything, and he wasn't even home.
Yeah.
Some driver supposedly went to this guy's house that was dropping off a package.
Amazon driver
Heard a racial slur, he claims, and then tells corporate about it, and they shut down his whole house with all his Amazon products, shut down his Prime account, and he wasn't even home.
Yeah. And it took him over a week.
Yeah.
To get a hold of somebody to say, hey, this didn't happen. And if you look at the footage, so he had a fully integrated,
they're fucking listening,
Alexa
boys.
house with the door, with the camera in the door and the whole 9 yards. And he had to convince them to look at the footage, and then they're like, oh yeah, I guess nobody was home. That tells you how messed up it is. Yeah, I don't trust
Unplug your Prime sticks. Unplug your. I don't even have an Alexa in our house. I will never get one. I'm just going to tell you that right now. I don't trust it. But we do have Prime. We have Prime sticks, Amazon sticks, Fire sticks, because those are so damn handy and easy. But same time, they might be listening to you on your TV. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, guys. I'm That's
So-
weird deal.
The last thing that I'll say about AI that could really, well, there's a couple things that are probably working against taking this faster than where we're going now, and they're kind of two things I hadn't really thought about. So the first one is the cost of money and the environment in the venture capital world. So with interest rates where they're at, and with the downfall of Silicon Valley Bank and how tight credit is, the stream of cheap, free, easy money is over. And so in the VC world, a lot of these projects and applications using AI that, 2 or 3 years ago, they could have had access to as much money as they wanted because people were falling all over themselves because you couldn't get a decent return on anything, so you might as well risk it to get the biscuit. That's all changed. And so the amount of VC capital that's out there and the governance of how it's being spent, much tighter. So fewer and fewer projects are getting started, and the ones that are started are probably being watched much closer than what they were, as far as, okay, if this isn't getting progress, we're pulling the plug on it. So that's one thing that is definitely going to slow it over time. The other thing is, given the situation around the world as far as chip making goes, so the low-end chips,
Lay's better get into production of them. They make other chips. They might as well just start making the other chips. Jeez, this has been a problem for it's been a problem since we started this podcast. I can't find any fucking chips.
Yeah.
Where are they at?
I don't know, but I have a guess that a chip fab for computer chips is significantly more expensive than a Lay's factory to make chips.
Yep.
That's my guess.
But Lay's has got money.
They do have a lot of money.
It.
They could do it. You're right.
Could
You're
be a
right about
spinoff.
that.
I don't know. Might be off-brand, but
to build a chip fab, it's about, I want to say it's at least a 5-year process to get it done.
one chip.
No, to build a factory to make chips.
Gotcha.
That's why it takes so long to ramp the production. However, I listened to a real interesting, like I told you, I wasted an entire afternoon yesterday running this down, and I went down a rabbit hole about the whole chip thing, and it was really interesting. But at the end of it, I don't know whether or not having all that knowledge is going to help me all that much. But what's interesting is the low end chips. So the chip that's in your coffee maker, in television, just low end stuff. The Chinese own that market. However, it is in decline because their cost of labor is getting higher, and all of the technology as that market modernizes, because the most expensive chip today becomes the cheapest chip 15 years from now. As technology gets better, the nanometers, the size of the chip gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and the number of calculations per chip gets greater and greater. And so, I don't know a 20 nanometer chip maybe, maybe they're even 40. Maybe some of these chips are still 40 nanometers. That's the low end, and that manufacturing is done in China. However, a lot of that is moving to India or Mexico because the cost of labor. And the Chinese don't really they're good at using other people's technology. They're not very good at making their own, and the Biden administration basically earlier this year told every American that was in China working in the chip business that you needed to decide whether you wanted to give up your citizenship or get out of China. And so most of the expertise in building these chips actually has left China, and they're not in very good shape in that department. And that doesn't affect AI that much, but it affects your Ford pickup as far as if you get a truck and the heated seats work and all that. That's why we have that problem. And during COVID, the supply chain and all that broke down, and you couldn't get what you needed. The mid-level chips, which are like what's in cell phones, laptops, that kind of stuff, Taiwan is the main producer of that. Okay, well, we all know there's a hell of a lot of tension between the Chinese and Taiwan. if anything happens in that situation, or God forbid, a war breaks out and China decides they're going to try to invade Taiwan, which I don't know. It doesn't. Common sense would say that's not a very bright move, but common sense said it probably wasn't that bright for the Russians and the Ukrainians to get into it, and it happened. So nothing's off the table, but if that happened, it would seriously disrupt many industries around the world. But then the high-end chips, what is driving machine learning, supercomputers, all of that? Those chips are made, some of them are made here in America, they're made in Taiwan, some are made in Europe. However, the components that go into those chips, none of those components are all made within one country. There's literally like 9 different companies around the world that all have a piece that they supply to that really high-end chip. And anything that disrupts the flow of goods around the world, especially in that high end, that will really mess up the ability that cutting-edge technology can advance. And I had no idea that it was that way. And within the United States, there's a big push coming or already in progress to what we call onshore, which is bringing all this manufacturing back to the United States. That chip manufacturing is part of that. However, as I said, if you're going to build a chip fab, and there's several that are being built in the United States, it's a 5 to 10 year process. So
better get on it.
Lays,
as much as you dissected that, you might as well just build one. Why not be more broke?
My head hurts.
Let's just go into more debt.
Might as well. Given the state of the hog industry, it might be time to diversify.
I think if anybody is watching that's a newcomer, they just sat here and got godsmacked, and they probably don't believe that you're an actual farmer, because how the hell does a farmer know that?
Unless they're very intelligent, they realized how many things I said probably in not the right order, and they're like, I don't think this guy knows anything about anything.
Well, that could happen too, but I think you were pretty on point there.
Do your own research, but yes, basically, and the really high-end chips, we're getting down, I want to say we're getting down below, I think we're down to about 5 nanometers. I think below 7. So the big bulky chips, 40 nanometers or 20 or whatever, all the way down to like a 5 nanometer chip. And crazy
shit. Well, that was our topic, our hot topic on AI. We're gonna move on here.
We're gonna shift gears to
the entertainment world, and this is one that I'm excited to talk about, and I'm fucking pissed off about, to be frank. And you should all be pissed off about it too, because it doesn't make sense. It's bullshit, and there's some shady shit going on about this, and y'all have probably seen it. But we're gonna be talking about the movie Sound of Freedom. And if you know nothing about the movie, it's about child sex trafficking. And it's on a true story. It's about a guy, Chris Ballard is his name.
Yep.
He has his own organization, and he's trying to stop child sex trafficking. And he kind of goes undercover, finds these people, tries to save the children, get them out. And it's kind of based off of him and what he's doing.
It's based on his story. Not everything in the movie is true. The main thing that is not true, I know this because he talked about it the other day. Tim Ballard was a customs agent or a DEA agent, and he specialized in human trafficking. He left his job because he felt like he couldn't do what he wanted to do, and he really wanted to focus on child trafficking. Tim Ballard never killed anybody.
I should preface that. It's not just sex trafficking, it's human trafficking.
Yeah. But it pretty much is the story of him. There's one family that he got involved with, and it's the story of him basically getting them out of that situation. But the story of the movie is really interesting in the fact that if you have seen the movie or if you're going to see it, and I would highly recommend going, it's coming to our little town. Came today, and we're all going to go tomorrow night to see it. The movie was actually made in 2018.
Yeah, so it says here independent movie, was made for $14 million in 2018, purchased by 20th Century Fox. Then 20th Century was acquired by Disney. Shocker, they fucking are buying everything. And I just got to say this is a hot take, maybe not. Maybe a lot of people are relating to this, but Disney, you're fucking up everything.
They have ruined everything.
Star Wars, trash. Marvel, trash now. New movies that are going out for kids all got politics and bullshit into it. Trash. Trash. Old Disney, way better. New Disney, sucks ass. I'm not supporting Disney. You suck. You've ruined everything. And this is another example because this movie sat on the shelf at Disney for 5 years. And Angel Studios said, screw that. And they acquired the rights to distribute the movie. And so finally got it off the shelves, and now that here we are. Yeah. And so if you're active on social media, Twitter, TikTok, whatever, you have been seeing, and if you watch any highlights from mainstream media, or if you, God forbid, you watch mainstream media, you have seen that the left-leaning news networks and the left-leaning like New York Times, Forbes, Rolling Stone, Guardian have all come out and said it's a QAnon. This is a QAnon conspiracy theory movie. It's all about, it's bullshit. It's referring to that there's this, if you don't know what QAnon is, it's this, supposedly it's this group of high elite people that
control everything
and that are pedophiles, essentially, or one thing that they are associated with is pedophilia. And that they pretty much have said that this movie is just a reflection of that, and that's what it's about, and that you shouldn't go see this movie because it's bullshit. Right? That's what they're saying.
It's just keeping the conspiracy theory going is what it,
quote unquote.
Yeah.
And then when you actually listen to real people in the real world talk about this movie, they say it's fucking phenomenal. It's great. Everybody should see this movie. It's a reflection on what's actually, all this movie is really trying to do is shine awareness on human trafficking, child trafficking. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. And the idea and the fact that there's news networks out there and what do you call them? Journalists out there that are saying you shouldn't go see this movie and are against this movie is fucking insane to me. The idea that we're trying to say that a human trafficking movie is QAnon and is for the right wing and that you shouldn't go. The idea that they're trying to promote this as you shouldn't go see this movie when it's just trying to do something positive and give awareness to people on what the fuck's actually going on, because this shit I baffling to me. I think this is a topic that whether you're on left side of the aisle or right side of the aisle, you don't come for the fucking children, and we should do anything in our power to protect children. And the fact that there's one side of the aisle that, and I'm talking about the corporations that are showing this media or talking about this stuff, are kind of belittling the idea of people going and seeing this movie is fucking wrong, in my opinion.
So
it's fucked up.
One of the idea that they're putting out there is that everybody that's going to see this is middle-aged white men who are all QAnon conspiracy theorists. However, its first weekend, I should back up a little bit. So Angel Networks, okay, I'll back up all the way. So one thing I will say to Disney's credit is Disney did not have to sell the rights to this. They could have just sat on it. They could have just destroyed it and said, "Oh, well, sorry, we didn't keep it. We thought it was trash, so we just got rid of it." They didn't have to sell the rights to Angel Network. They did, which good for them. It's too bad that they sat on it as long as they did, and they would have not released it if it wasn't for the fact that Angel Networks really pushed and kept pushing to try to get the rights to do it. And then there was a big crowdfunding to get enough money to get it out to, I think 2,500 theaters showed it that opening weekend, and it actually made more money than Indiana Jones. Made $14 million, and Indiana Jones made 11. So that tells you pretty good in basically half the theaters, I think, that Indiana Jones was in. But that whole thing about It's, it's all conspiracy theorists viewing the movie. So Variety Magazine put out a shitty article about it, basically saying the same thing, that it was all conspiracy theorists that were going to it, and that it was just putting out this idea of the QAnon thing. So the demographics of the people that have viewed it so far, the most recent data is that the majority of viewers are women, and a third of those women that viewed it were Hispanic. So that doesn't really fit
their narrative. It's bullshit.
And to your point, I think the thing that is disturbing to me about it is, and it kind of goes with where we are today.
It's fucked up.
Is that in a nutshell,
it's
that's
screwed
it.
up.
But
how in the hell is that not screwed up? Who in their right mind is trying to promote this movie in a bad light?
Yeah.
When all it's trying to do is shine light on a fucking horrible act that's being committed on this planet.
Well, I'm going to try to elaborate a little on that.
It's insane to me. It's insane to me, and it should be a wake-up call to all of you. Because honestly, what's scary about it, if they want to allude to that it's QAnon, well, them doing that almost makes it seem like there is some shady shit going on in Hollywood and shit. Because if they're saying this is shit, and you're going to get into it, but these theaters are like having some weird shit going on that are showing this movie, it's almost making the point of them saying, oh, it's a QAnon conspiracy. Well, it's making me feel like it is you guys are, there is a QAnon group, because why the fuck are you not promoting this movie? Why are you shining a poor light on it? Yeah. It's making me seem like there's some shady shit going on behind the scenes, and I think a lot of people feel the same way. Go ahead. Woo. It pisses me off.
Sawyer's hot on
I
today's
am.
hot
I am
topics.
hot. Fucking steam coming out of my ears.
So what I think is disturbing is, the way that this movie is being represented in media is just another example of how in our society here there has been a turn away from parental rights. There has been a move towards sexualizing children and objectifying children.
1000%.
And if you go down if that's the path you're on, then this movie stands in the face of that, because it champions the idea that children should be protected and that they're not being protected. And there is a huge problem with child trafficking, human trafficking in general, but child trafficking in specifically. And so I think that's why you're seeing this pushback, is because there's elements within the political class in this country and in media that have an agenda that they want to lessen parental rights and objectify children.
It's fucking evil. I mean, why? Why are they doing that? Why? You got to ask why. And to be honest, all I could come up with is they're sick fucks and they're evil. That's disgusting.
Well,
objectifying children. And I mean, it's the same shit. If you saw the photos from the fucking pride parades going around in America, there were naked men with their dicks hanging out right in front of children as children walk by, and nobody said a fucking thing to those people. What in the hell is going on? What in the hell is going on? This idea of exactly what you're saying, of objectifying children and sexualizing children and allowing them to just see grown men in the streets at a parade with their dicks hanging out is just okay, and nobody on the street's going to say something like, hey, get your fucking kid off the street. What are you doing? You have no business being a parent if that's the way you're going to parent your kid. Like, where the hell is that? Like, why are we accepting this? I don't get it. I don't understand it. There is a lines, and we are getting we are crossing lines here. People are crossing lines. When it comes to children, there needs to be a fucking there needs to be a high standard there of like, hey, we don't do this here. And right now, it seems like that standard is just getting weakened. And I think it's, to your point, I think that's exactly what they unfortunately want to do. Because why else would you not want this movie to do well? And that just leads me into the next point, which is if you are on TikTok, if you are on Twitter, I have seen, I'm not even shitting you, probably hundreds of videos of theaters out there, AMC specifically, that's the one theater that I've heard the most riffraff on, is AC units are going out in theaters. The movie screen is getting, it looks like it's like pixelated and it's not showing the movie. They're having the movie, there's like a commentator on the movie. You know, like when you're watching and they have, you know, when you accidentally on your TV, you accidentally set the setting where everything that you scroll over, the TV like talks to you about what you're scrolling over. Same thing with a movie. They have like a commentator of everything that's happening in the movie, and it's just playing at the movie theater with people in there to annoy the shit out of people so that they get up and leave. Refunding tickets, fire alarms going off. This is all happening, and I've seen all real videos of real people literally filming this and putting this on the internet, showing that this is happening at these theaters. Why? There again, why is that happening? Why, for this specific movie, are all these incidents happening? You have to ask why. It's because I believe it's because they truly don't want you to see this movie. When in the past has there ever been a showing of a movie with this much bullshit happening at the theaters of the showing? I don't think, what are the chances that the fire alarm goes off at a movie theater? Very low. I've yet to be at one. What are the chances that the AC unit just stops working at the showing that you go to? It's never happened in my lifetime. So why all of a sudden am I seeing hundreds upon hundreds of theaters across the country that are showing Sound of Freedom having all these fucking problems? Sounds shady to me. I don't know about you guys. And if you haven't seen any of this, I encourage you to look some shit up on the internet. Go look at TikTok. Go look at Twitter, because I'm sure it's on all platforms by now. The one that I've seen the most of it at is on TikTok. But people are, if anything, it's actually having the opposite effect. Yeah, it's having the opposite effect. It's backfiring and big time on them, because now it's literally promoting the movie. Now everybody's going to go to the theater, and it's almost like people want to go see this movie now just to see if the theater is going to do some shady shit and not allow them to see the movie. Like, it's getting more and more traction. So they fucked up on that part, because they're just marketing the shit out of this movie now. But, I mean, you just got to ask the question. The media outlets are painting a bad light on this movie. These theaters obviously don't want people to see this movie, because all this crazy shit is happening at these showings at these theaters. I mean, have you ever been to a movie where the fire alarm goes off? I haven't. No. Have you ever been to a movie theater that the AC stops working? I haven't. Have you ever been to a movie theater where the commentator, I saw one, literally the commentator was literally talking. Like, you know how when you select the thing on your Prime stick and you select the wrong button, and every app that you scroll over, it says Netflix. Oh, it like commentates it. Yeah. There was literally a showing of the theater of them having a commentator of every action that was happening in the movie, and it was talking over the movie. It was like
closed captioning was turned on,
and somebody was talking.
Voice activated.
It. Yeah. Well, it's fucking weird, dude.
So when you think about how society has moved, what do you think the reaction today would be if Passion of the Christ was released now?
I think it'd be something similar.
Right. That's
for sure.
So that's my point, is I feel like which that's on a whole different, that's a whole different scale, or that's a whole different genre than what this is. However, it's a mostly conservative movie, and it's definitely belief specific in the fact that it was Christian, based movie. But I really feel like that if that movie was to come out today, I don't think it could be made today. I don't think that it could be made. And like, this movie was made 5 years ago, and it just shows you the push that is out there away from anything with any moral fiber. Or I think that's, when you say why? Well, to me, it makes perfect sense because we've talked about this on so many things. I feel like there's just a goal within our country among progressives to basically tear down everything that is a social norm. So the family, a father as an intact family, a father, a mother, and children. There is an attack on
I'd say
women.
I'd say God.
Oh, well, God is first. We, take God out of everything, destroy the family, but then objectify children. And then, over the years, the satisfaction level of politicians has gone lower and lower and lower. Then we started in on the police. We wanted to defund the police and make police and the law enforcement in a bad light. Then the military, because at the low point or at one of the lowest points of when nobody trusted politicians, a poll would say most people trust the military. Well, I don't think that's true now because look who we have running the military and all the problems that they've had. This is just one more small example of the push within the progressive part of our country to tear down everything that our country was built on as far as moral standards, the family. Yeah, I don't have to go into it. So, you can look at it and say, I just don't understand. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? If your agenda is to basically destroy, if you're going to destroy our country from within, that's the way you do it, is you separate people, you get people
Destroy morals.
too far apart to where there's no common ground. That's what is trying to be done here, is we're trying to get as many people, trying to get as many people as far away from each other as possible.
Yep. I agree, but I also think, and I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks. This is my opinion. There is some shady shit going on in Hollywood. There's some shady shit going on behind the scenes. It's too big of a coincidence, in my opinion. There's too much shit. There's Epstein's Island. We just all forget about Epstein's Island and the list of people that went to that island, that he obviously did some sexual shit to children on that island. There are people out there that are in the light of Hollywood or that are elites that have gone to Epstein's Island and done some shady shit, and we can't ever seem to get the list of people, or we can't ever seem to prosecute anybody that was on that list that made it to the island. We can't ever seem to have any evidence of these people that ever did anything on this island, even though there's cameras on the island and shit. It's like there is some shady shit going on. No, I agree with everything that you're saying there, but I also believe that there's some shady shit going on behind the scenes with people. I do.
Well, Sawyer,
1,000%.
There's shady shit going on in our White House. Somebody was doing cocaine in the White House, and the Secret Service just came out yesterday and said their investigation is done, and they were unable to find anybody. They were unable to find anybody that had anything to do with getting cocaine into the White House. No idea. So if you are going to sit and lie to the American people and say, the thing is, there was a time where they would have at least come up with a plausible, somebody would have taken the fall for it. They would have found the gardener, a butler, a maid, a cook, somebody there that was doing, they would have found somebody and said, oh yeah, that dirty bastard there, he was doing cocaine in the White House. No, they didn't. Now they're at the point where they don't care. They have spoon-fed the American people so much shit that they aren't even interested in taking the time to come up with a plausible scapegoat. They just come out and go, well, we don't know how in the hell it got there, but we can't find anybody. So if that is the state of affairs, what you're talking about, you're never going to know. No one that was ever had anything to do with Epstein, that will never come to light. It will never come to light as long as the most powerful people that were involved in that are still alive. Look how long the shit that went on with Kennedy.
Yeah. Well, it's still, I mean, most people have a conclusion on it, right?
Yeah, but you're never going to know.
Yeah. They're never going to come out and say it.
And that's the problem. I mean, we're going long here, but the problem is there was a time that I think a majority of people did believe that government, for all of its flaws, had your best interests in mind.
And you could trust what came out of their mouth.
And today, I don't think you could find a third of the people in this country that believe that government has their best interests in mind on either side. I don't think you could. People are incredibly jaded, and the other part is we're callous to it. We're just to the point that we
don't do shit about it. That's the scary part. We don't do shit about it. I think also why they don't come up with an explanation or a scapegoat, because they know we ain't going to do shit about it.
Yeah.
They've realized that we're never going to protest, or we're never going to come and throw the fucker out of the White House and do something about it. Not saying we should. I'm just saying we haven't done shit. We haven't done anything. We haven't revolted. We haven't done shit yet. So why they can get away with anything?
That's the goal of keeping everybody divided and keeping us all fighting over all of these little things. Because when we all have differing opinions on every social thing, we are not going to unite on the big things. That's exactly what they want. They want to keep us all divided so that when it comes to real change, none of us can agree in a big enough number to throw them out. So I guess we all need to... There's a day coming that we need to find the big things that we can agree on, and we need to come together as Americans and right this ship. And I don't know when that will be, but that's what needs to happen.
Well, the sad truth of it is, if we don't, the country's going to fall, because they are disrupting the inside of this country and what made this country great, and that's the only way you can take down America.
Yes.
So many people have said that. You can only take down America within.
From the inside.
And that's what's happening. So if we don't turn our shit around, set the fucking standard, if there's a guy on the street with his dick hanging out and there's a child walking by, we should probably fucking say something about it and say, get off the street, or don't be a parent. You're a shitty parent. What are you doing? Get out of here. I mean, we got to speak the fuck up and like say some shit, and go see Sound of Freedom, because they don't want you to obviously see it. So go see it. It's for a good cause. It's for a good awareness. I believe we should be more aware of the problem that is child trafficking, human trafficking. I mean, last thing I'll say about it, I saw an interview of Tim Ballard and the guy that made the movie. There's a lot of ways that can happen with child trafficking, but the most common is, these kids get raped 12 to 15 times a day, and then when they're used up, they harvest their organs and sell them.
No, they kill them.
They kill them and then harvest their organs and sell them.
The organs.
I mean, talk about pretty messed up. And I mean, that should give you perspective on how lucky we are, because you could have things a lot worse. But we should all be aware of this issue, and we should all go see this movie, and we should all think about that problem, because it's becoming a bigger and bigger problem. And just ask more questions. Ask why. Do your own research. Do your own digging. But I think most of the people that listen to the show and most people out there can agree that it's messed up that all this shady crap is going on behind the scenes about this movie, when most people on either side of the aisle can agree that this is a problem that we could come together on and agree that it's messed up, and we should probably do something about it. So that's all I'll say. Go see Sound of Freedom. We're going to see it tomorrow. So let us know. Let us know what your guys' thoughts are on it. Let us know what you think about the episode. Let us know if you think we're crazy. Let us know if you agree with us. Let us know what you disagreed on. And pay the fee. If you got any value from the show, share it out with your friends, family, coworkers, employees, whoever. And leave a review on Spotify or Apple. Thank you for your support on the show. Thank you for your support on Farmer Grade. We love you guys, and we'll see you back here next week for another episode.